Is the new meta the most balanced of War Thunder's history? Let's talk a little bit about it. Hello guys, once again it's Matt. Thank you all the members and patrons. Make sure to subscribe. And yeah guys, we had a very big change in the game for top tiers, and we all know it's the Fox trees, obviously. But is it the most fair or balanced gameplay that we ever had? Well, the short answer is yes and no at the same time, but in a way that you probably will not expect, maybe, I don't know. Because in theory, yes, for sure. Yes, there is one problem. Germany doesn't have a top tier aircraft yet. But even without one, the F4F ice is still usable to a certain extent. And but most nations have a counter to each other, and not only in this case in aircraft, actually in weapon systems and in actual like possibilities of killing each other. You can notice that of how many people are just with 1 or 2 kills normally in gameplays and basically dying. If you played a little bit, at least for now, we will have to wait, and that's the no part that I was talking about. For the most part, people are being like having a very mixed type of gameplay. People are killing each other, are being able to get 2-3 kills, but you don't see people killing like 7 targets like you saw sometimes with the Su-27, for example, before. Or with the R60 when it was added, or with the F14 when it was added, or the MLD when it was added. It's the first time that I feel like I can literally play with any nation, with, Germany in mind being the least competitive one, as I said, that you can actually have a competitive way of playing top tier, which led me thinking about this idea that I honestly think that this is probably one of the most balanced eras of War Thunder in the sense of just released updates. And I know it might be a little bit controversial, I don't know, you guys tell me what you are thinking, but you can kill everybody and everybody can kill you at any time with these missiles, because the missiles are so good. Yes, there are better missiles out there, worse missiles, better missiles. AM4, I think it's the worst right now. The PL-12 isn't the greatest. The AM-120, maybe C5 should be added. The Mika's derbies, they are amazing. The R-77, depending on the situation, it can be one of the most amazing missile ever. Sometimes it cannot be that amazing, so it depends. But at the end of the day, I feel like every single match you are matched with something, but you are matching the targets as well. In terms of possibility of killing them, you really need to play it smart to keep it safe. I kind of talked a little bit about this in the previous video that I did, today, talking about if flying high is the meta and stuff, and you can clearly see how situational awareness and just an overall line of thinking that it is a lot easier to get killed. It is easier to get kills as well, in BVR especially, but even up close, depending on the situation, if you fire these missiles, the target is dead. It's very easy to get kills. But because these missiles, and everybody has them, are so good, it kind of goes to the other side as well, and it kind of balances it out, right? It's not like, imagine if one nation had an AM-120, an R-77, something like that, and nobody else had it. You would have a power creep, and that was what it was happening before in many occasions, right? Smaller or bigger, there was always some form of power creep that was big enough for us to actually notice. The R-27ER, when it was added, nobody could kill 50 plus kilometer shots like the R-27ER. Not even the Phoenix. The Phoenix was easy to avoid comparing to the R-27ER, at early stages of it being added, right? And now it's like everybody received an R-27ER. It's kind of like that, right? And it's even better because these are Fox 3s. It's a very easy missile to use. It's a very easy missile to just fire and literally forget about them. Of course, it helps. INS, BVR, data link, stuff like that always helps the missile to be a little bit more effective. But in a general sense, for a lot of maps, you know, and a lot of targets and a lot of ways of people just playing around, you can clearly see that people like can use them very easily from further away, from close, up close, and it doesn't matter what skill you have. It's a very easy missile to learn how to use, in my opinion. I have this feeling, at least, right? And if you are not on par with your defensive game, you are always going to die a lot, which means that everybody kind of is in the same boat of learning how to defend from these missiles. And although it might be the contrary of a lot of people's thoughts about this, but a lot of people are saying that, oh my god, War Thunder became even more of just point and click and forget about the missiles and you're gonna get a kill. And although this is true, at the same time the defensive part became the contrary, right? It became less preeminent on the aircraft itself and a lot more on the skill of the player, because although some aircraft have the MAW system, the missile approach, you know, warning system, some people have more flares, some aircraft, you know, have more flares, less flares. At the end of the day, what it matters the most is you actually being smart about your flying and actually learning how to be defensive with all of these missiles flying around. So I still believe that it is a learning process still. We have the third day of the patch. It's still very, very early days to confirm this for sure. But I have a feeling that even with the differences in missiles and aircraft, there will be eventually, I think, added better versions of missiles, better aircraft, and etc. You know, Germany, I used as an example that it is probably the least favorite nation of competitiveness right now, right? Even with that, it's still like as on par as it ever was, you know, to the other nations. I mean, I'm in a sense that it is a lot better than it ever was. That's what I mean, right? On comparing it itself to its nation, to its like competitors, right? So everybody has a good aircraft. Dogfight is not really like that important, obviously, but this is a problem that is happening for a while. But now it's a little bit more. Do you like these or not? Well, it depends on personal opinion, but at the end of the day, the skill that is like the most important right now, it's not offensive armament shooting. This is easy, everybody can do it. It's not dogfights, it's defensive flying, you know, being able to defend from a missile like an M9M, which is very hard to defend sometimes depending on the situation. An R73 that can be impossible to avoid depending on the situation. The Derbies or all the Fox 3 missiles, right, that can be almost impossible to defend depending on the situation. That's, you know, that's the thing. You need to get into the right circumstances to actually be successful. And, you know, I really, honestly am hopeful. Again, I cannot answer it right now. Trying to answer the question again, is it the most balanced top tier matches that we ever got in War Thunder? Again, I cannot say it for sure right now, but I think it's leaning towards that, right? So at the same time that it can, like, there are nations that are better than others, nations that have more missiles, better performance than an aircraft, etc., etc. At the end of the day, everybody is more on par with each other than ever before, in my opinion at least, because finally all the minor nations, if you want to call them that have a competitive enough weapon system, no matter the aircraft, to actually fight with the bigger nations that every single time got the better end of the stick. Every single time. This was kind of unprecedented, in my opinion. So it opens up the gap for many problems, of course, but at the end of the day, it opens up the gap for a more balanced gameplay, because everybody like in these days have Fox 3 missiles. But anyway, I need to know your opinion, guys, because honestly, this is my only personal opinion on my personal side of things. So let me know in the comments what you think about this, and I see you guys on the next one, probably tomorrow.